I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast gems.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac Extra Value Meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
You're listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast, episode 354, Snow Bear. Grab that brass ring. Welcome to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, the #1 place to get your animation fix with animation addicts just like you. Each episode, we dive into the wonderful world of animation featuring Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, and everything in between. From hilarious discussions and movie reviews to interviews with industry insiders, this show's mission is to brighten your day through our love of animation. So hop on your nerdy couch, grab some snacks, and get ready to hang out with your animation besties because it's time to dive into today's episode. Hey there, animation addicts. I'm Morgan Stradling.
And I'm Chelsea Robson.
Chelsea, if you could be any type of bear, what would you be?
A koala bear.
Oh, was not expecting that. Okay.
Because they're very cute.
I think I would go with, there's so many, you got the panda bear, you got like the exotic bears, like you're going down under with koalas. We have panda bears, then we have the polar bear, then there's the Andean bear from South America. There's the black bear, the grizzly bear. I think I'd go for a good old traditional grizzly bear that just loves to fish salmon all day long. I don't know what this was on X, but I saw apparently it was like, Fat Bear Month has begun.
Yes. I know this. I know what
you know what this is. I like briefly saw it. It was like, cast your votes, and I'm like, what? It was like this big, huge fatty bear like floating in some sort of body of water.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That is also a thing that Stephanie told me about many years ago, actually, where it's before they go into hibernation, they just pack on the pounds, and
as they should.
They have certain bears that they have tagged, and they just watch them, and then they have a little almost beauty pageant virtually.
I love it.
Like online, like, all right, who's the prettiest bear? They also have one, the same thing, but in the reverse of like the bears coming out of hibernation to see which ones are, I don't know what they call it, but just like their favorites.
Nice. I guess I should be invested in this year's season. I shouldn't just disregard it. Yeah.
I think it's a sign from the universe saying that this is your year
to be my year to care about Fatty Bear.
Yes.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Big news. Sephora is now on Uber Eats. So if you find yourself facing a beauty emergency, like needing a last-minute gift, or you're just out of your favorite mascara, again, don't panic. We got you. Order now and get $10 off on Sephora orders of $50 or more on the Uber Eats app. Order now. Offer ends October 30th. One order per customer. Additional terms apply. See app for availability. Delivery fees may apply.
All right, so today we are talking about something really fun. We are talking about Snow Bear. Snow Bear is a new, traditionally animated short by Aaron Blaise. And so this has been making the festival circuit. It's been making the rounds. And so we were able to watch it and review it. And we're going to talk about it today. And then in a future episode, I will be doing an interview with Aaron Blaise himself to talk about it. So I thought it'd be a really good idea that before we jump into this, we'll do a little animator spotlight on Aaron Blaise. So that's what we will be doing because Snow Bear, he is the director of Snow Bear, but he is the sole animator on the film, which I think is really incredible. If you look on the website, you go to snowbearshort.com. And that's where you can get some information on how to watch it eventually when it comes available. And it just gives you information about him and the process and developing it and all the awards that they've won, which is amazing, what festivals they've been in. But it says 11,000 drawings, 3 years of work, one artist, which I think is incredible. But one thing about Aaron Blaise, so he is a former Disney animator, and he is known kind of nowadays as the quadruped guy or the animal guy, because so much of his career he was animating animals and then just got really good at it and has kind of carved out this niche for him.
As one does.
And so I want to go through and go real quick what he's done. So in 1990, he did Roller Coaster Rabbit. That was when he started at Disney. He was assistant animator on that, and then was Wilbur in the assistant animator for Wilbur in The Rescuers Down Under. He was an animator of Beast in Beauty and the Beast, supervising animator of Raja. So here we're already seeing, we're starting with the Beast, and then, we're moving to, other characters. And so he was the supervising animator for Raja and Aladdin. And then Lion King, he was supervising animator for Young Nala. He was an animator under Glenn Keane for the character of Pocahontas in Pocahontas, supervising animator of Yao and the Ancestors. So he had one of the three. And then just all of the ancestors, we'll just lump them into a big group, which was really fun. And then he directed Brother Bear in 2003. But then he left Disney when his wife of 20 years passed away. And so that was something for him that he shifted his career, passed away of cancer. For Brother Bear, he was nominated for an Oscar for that. And he worked on some other projects in between time, went to different studios. And he was working as a director of a film called The Legend of Tembo. And that was from 2010 to 2014. And the studio was Tradition Studios, which it's, if you click on it and you look at the link, it's now called Digital Domain, or it's maybe been acquired by them, which is such a bummer because the company went bankrupt. I can't even imagine just putting so much time, your heart, you're taking a big bet, you're going over here and then that happens. But in 2012, he and his business partner, Nick Birch, now, what he's known for is his lessons and his tutorials based on his long, illustrious 2D career. He started something called Creature Art Teacher. I think is a great little name. And he has tons of classes and things that you can sign up there. I'll just take you to creatureartteacher.com if you want to check that out. But he is very prolific and is just always busy. I always see his videos. He has his own YouTube channel, which we'll include link in the show notes. We'll include all these links here so you can check these out as well. But so he kind of became this guy who was the animal guy, and he just really leaned into that. And I was listening to an interview on the Bancroft Brothers podcast from July where they were talking about Snow Bear. And he mentioned how people would come up to him and say, hey, so many people would be like, I took your class, I signed up for this course. And sometimes they weren't just newbie animators, they're from all over the spectrum. Someone's like, I'm a very accomplished animator, but I've never animated animals before. And so I took your course and it was amazing, So he really is very distinguished in the world of animation. Shifting into Snow Bear, he wanted to do this he had this idea of this lonely polar bear. But then as he started getting into it, he started realizing it was kind of a way to process the grief that he had from his wife dying.
Mm-hmm.
And just the loneliness that comes with that, and, navigating that. And so with that in mind, a lot of the different scenes and aspects of the film have a deeper meaning, like the iceberg, if you will.
Right.
Like we see in the film. But yes, so let's talk about Snow Bear. So Snow Bear, what they said was, this has been in our minds a long time, like 9 years. I maybe had the idea 9 years ago. He had the idea for it. About 6 years ago, they really were like, okay, let's make this a thing. And then it took 3 years of the actual animation work. And obviously a one-man show, it's just going to take a long time. So this is traditionally animated, and it's not, a lot of times they'll say, oh, it's traditionally animated, but it's actually like a rig, like a 2D rig in the background. And then you're able to kind of overlap. You use that as your base, and you can overlap traditional drawings on top of it to really like push and pull things. But this is straight up, no rig, old school traditional animation. And I love it.
It kind of reminds me of when Glenn Keane did the basketball, or even the duet.
Yeah, duet.
And for him, I mean, all of these animators who worked for years at Disney and had a certain way of doing it. And I remember Glenn saying, he's like, this is the first, or his son, I guess, said that this was the first time that someone was actually going to see his pencil, because everything else had been painted over for the key images. And I'm sure that it has the same effect for Aaron Blaise in this. It just feels like these guys they're like, wow, I can do it by myself. And they can, they're so good, so talented that, as you said, they put in he put in all those years and hours of getting the skills to do it. And so there's so few people that I think will ever be quite as talented as these guys that have come out of that system.
In that podcast, he mentioned how he still has, his animator table. He does traditional animation on paper, but he really shifted to doing it digitally. Even back in 2005, he had his tablet and his drawing tablet, and he just simply because the output that he's able to have is so much more.
Right.
Like here, instead of manually flipping a piece of paper, you have a little toggle or a hotkey or whatever you would do. And then, if you have to fix something, you don't have to completely erase it. You could just like stretch it out a bit to make the head a little bigger or whatever. So, but a lot of people, even back then had these tutorials that was teaching these animators how to move from not to a CGI system, but how to move their process or their pipeline from paper to digital. So anyways, I just thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
But, one other thing, he was recently named the 2025 recipient of the Winsor McKay Lifetime Achievement Award in Animation by the ASIFA Hollywood, and was presented the award at the 2025 Annie Awards.
Yay!
So, he is very, very much well respected in the industry. So this is really cool to see this Snow Bear come out, and it's kind of this labor of love for him. And that's the thing, he and his business partner were talking. It's like, well, you're doing these animated shorts, they take a long time, but where's the money in it? Which is really, really hard. I mean, with Disney, you had like the system, and it was a way to train and develop animators and test new ideas and give people maybe a directing shot, before moving on to the big thing, right? But when you are solo and you are an independent, I mean, that's a real risk. Like, this is a labor of love when you're doing this. And so this is definitely independent animation at its finest, right?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Tic Tac. Your boss is going off at you for missing a deadline, and you swear the clock just moved backwards. Suddenly, you remember the pack of Tic Tacs on your desk. Now you're riding horseback on the beach, the smell of citrus in the air. And what's this? Your boss is sitting behind you, breathing heavenly fresh mint. Refresh your mouth and mind and share your good vibes with Tic Tac.
Your your earbud fell in a coffee cup. You need a taco pick-me-up. When modern life gets rough, grab the timeless taste you love. Paso, the old El Paso.
For sure.
So it was completed in November 2024. He produced it in the USA. And here is a little plot synopsis. Then we'll just talk about the different aspects. But it says, set in a rapidly changing world, Snow Bear tells the story of a lonely polar bear in an unforgiving environment on his quest to find a friend. Created entirely by animator Aaron Blaise over 3 years, the film features stunning hand-drawn animation that captures both the humor and poignancy of its central character's quest for connection. Balancing moments of laughter and heartfelt emotion, this film plays tribute to the timeless art of traditional animation while offering a gentle reminder of the bonds that unite us all.
Aww.
Yeah. So this one thing we will say, we are going to be having spoilers about this, and this will be our full review of it. But as far as where to watch it, we'll include that in the show notes, because right now it's still kind of through the festival circuit, and streaming will be available obviously soon. They are going to be pushing to have it released. Obviously, an Oscar run for it.
You're right. Distributed through somewhere.
My local theaters, when that comes around, they'll do the Oscar nominated animated shorts in a big collection, and you can go and watch them all together. So
nice.
Anyways, keep your eyes peeled. We'll also include some links down below on where to watch it. Because if you go right now and you say see the film, right now it's just listing the different events that are happening for various festivals. But don't worry, very soon it'll be available.
Don't you fret. The moment this short started, the colors, the backgrounds are really well done. And
all by Aaron.
Yeah. But then you also just see, it's like watching Brother Bear again. It's like you get to this point, you're like, oh, wow. There are many moments where I'm like, I feel like this little sequence or even this little background thing is just something that I've seen before, just because I have seen so much of his work. And you can just see little echoes of it through it. So that's a fun thing too.
Yeah.
And you start out, he sees the fox, and then he sees the killer whales. And I'm actually very afraid of killer whales now after watching some of these documentaries that they had about them. So I'm like, oh no, don't get eaten by the killer whales. But anyway.
No Free Willy for you, huh?
I can't do it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that at the very beginning, because he's almost dog-like in canine in his way that he sees another animal and just says, his eyes light up, and you start sensing this need for connection. Yeah. That he's being rejected. And polar bears, aren't like wolves. They're not in packs. They're typically more solo. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, that from the very beginning, they're establishing this need and desire for connection for this polar bear, where he's just being rejected by a variety of different, groups and animals. And, the fox runs away. There's the 3 whales, and then he dives down and kind of has a moment with the baby whale. And then the parents get involved. Right. And then it's like, okay. From the very beginning, the emotion that he's able to convey, in the face of the animal. There's no dialogue in this entire thing, but you are never amiss for what is happening and how the polar bear is feeling throughout it all.
There's a lot of personification in there, and I wouldn't call it, because there's the anthropomorphic, where you actually have an animal that is acting and is very humanly, but that's not what this is. This is an animal, but there is just an extra layer of that emotion, of the personification of the emotion coming through. Like, and even the moment where right after that he's walking and he sees the birds and he's like, I'm gonna stand up and like say hi. Yeah. And it's just, there's moments like that do come across very humanly and relatable. So I'm sure that, were you able to watch this with your kids?
No, I watched it on a treadmill with the screener link.
There you go. But I feel like your kids would like it. I feel like...
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I need to show them this.
I think that they would really understand it and feel like, oh, I like this. Yeah, the bear.
Yeah. And so then we shift after these moments of exploration and yearning, the lack of connection that he's able to find. And then he sees something in the distance, and it looks like another polar bear, runs to it, and it's just a kind of big lump of snow, a big pile of snow that vaguely resembles the shape of a bear. And that's sad.
I have little flashbacks of like Land Before Time.
That's what I'm thinking too, for sure.
In this movie. Where it's like, mother. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
No, I know. It's sad where he sees the shadow all big and he runs closer to it. It's just him.
Well, and then right after that is he's going and he's like trying to make he's kind of laughing at the walruses. Like he's joking around with his little friend that he made. And then you look at one walrus and he absolutely looks like that armadillo type dinosaur from Land Before Time. You'll have to go back and watch it. And it's
Ankylosaurus or whatever.
Yes. Like he's like
that grumpy guy. Yes.
Yes. It's right after that moment too.
Yeah.
And so I had this like really big flashback of that moment.
That's so funny. I love it. So he makes this friend, and he shifts the friend and recreates him based on what he needs, and whether we're going to be like hide and seek, or we're going to, laugh, or we're going to eat some snow, or like a snowflake. He's able to transform this friend, and at least through this artificial connection, have something to keep him going. Which, I mean, I think about that nowadays. Yes, there is joy in the artificial connection, but as we get like to later on, you see like immediately it cannot be replaced by real life.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
I really like that walrus moment because he was just trying to be nice, and then they got really offended. I love the stinky breath that was green.
Or the part where he's eating
the seal. Yeah.
He's eating lunch and he's trying to share it with the other one as though it's like, oh no. And it's like,
I know.
I mean, just these little personification moments is just very cute. And then even the going down the hill with his little friend who then gets decapitated, and he's just like, how am I going to make this work?
Yeah. So speaking of that moment, so they're going down the hill. So one thing I noticed in this was the music. Obviously, when you don't have any dialogue, the music, the animation and the story have to hold it, but the music can play a very integral part. And immediately I'm like, oh, I know this. This is high quality stuff. That he found someone good, and it sounded familiar. I look it up. It's Mark Mancina and Marlon E. Espino. Now, Mark Mancina, he worked on The Lion King. He arranged a lot of the songs, and Hans Zimmer was the one who composed the score. But he's done other things: Moana, Speed, Twister, Tarzan, Brother Bear. I particularly, when I hear him or when I hear some of these scores, Tarzan stands out to me as a very distinct score that kind of mirrored this one. And then Brother Bear, obviously with Aaron working as being the director of Brother Bear, he obviously worked with Mark very closely. And so got to bring him on for this one. And the music really did amplify the moments that needed to be amplified and helped. I felt very much kind of like in Klaus, that one sledding scene. Yeah. I know that wasn't a score moment. It had like this sweeping song over it, but it still music in that moment amplified that scene. I felt many times that likewise, Mark and Marlon were able to create the perfect complement here to the animation.
Yeah, it was very well done. There were a couple of moments, especially toward the end, where I really started to lean into the music. And they do a good job of not making it something that you really focus on at the beginning. Like you focus on the correct things throughout the movie, and then there's little moments where it enhances the feelings that have already happened. You already, as a viewer, have made the acknowledgement of how the bear is feeling, and so then it comes around and adds some little more whimsy to it. It was nice.
Yeah. So Espino, Marlon E. Espino, he's known for Moana. So he and Mark must have worked together, collaborated on that one. Moana 2, the Lego Batman movie. It says Mona 2, but I think it means Moana 2. I'm just going to take liberty there. The Lego Batman movie and the Sea Beast. So And Aaron himself, he said, the Snow Bear having no dialogue, the score takes an even greater role in telling the story and guiding the audience emotionally. Music becomes the primary voice for the characters, setting the tone for both the lighter moments and the deeper themes at the heart of the film. It's amazing how a powerful melody can capture a character's hopes, loneliness, and triumphs without a single spoken word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they did a great job with it, as we mentioned prior.
Yeah, so then we kind of shift to the final third of the film, kind of has these 3 acts where he sees, so before we do, there's a pivotal moment on the iceberg.
Yes.
Where it's starting to get hot, and so snow is melting. And then he's trying to fix it. You see he's very frantic about it. He's trying to patch it back together and it's not working. And then he's on this iceberg and the iceberg breaks off.
Yeah.
And he's adrift. And immediately, my first thought was, run, you fools.
Jump
He
off.
cannot float anywhere good. Okay. As a polar bear, you need to be on the mainland.
Yeah.
I don't think just hanging out. I mean, I guess you could survive on an iceberg. Like this one melted relatively quickly. I don't think that's normal behavior for icebergs. I think they kind of take a long time to melt, even if they're chunked off.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess a polar bear could survive on an iceberg because they could just jump into the water and fish.
Yeah.
In theory.
And then
hop back on. But anyways, that was my first thought. I was like, you need to be back on land.
Run, you fool. Dive.
That wasn't the core of the story. They needed him to be isolated and be adrift and feel almost lost because as that scene progresses, the snow bear melts.
Right. Well, he doesn't want to leave the snow bear because that's his friend. That's his only confidant. Like so in it, you see how he's like, I want to go, but also I don't want to leave. Like he looks back, like I don't want to leave them. And he goes and he just starts crying and hugging his little snow bear. And I was like, aw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw.
And it's a moment that he has to give up. He has to eventually it just turns to water, and so he has to move on. And so then the next scene, we're able to see him just back on land and he sees something else. He sees another snow bear, which is very, very interesting, chases after it and then realizes what it is and gets really confused. Why is this here? It's not me. So then suddenly the realization, who did this?
Yeah.
And looks up and we see another polar bear, which as the audience, we're like, yay, friend.
Right. Well, and also how convenient. It's a girl.
It's a girl. It's meant to be. No, I loved it. And it's interesting because in that moment, there's that connection. Like he wasn't looking for the snow bear connection. He really was looking for a creature to creature connection. I don't want to say human connection, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like with another creature that was live and living and
an
in the world is
IRL, correct?
Yes.
Something IRL,
Yes, that's exactly what was going through the bear's head. I really need this IRL connection. And it's funny because immediately they kind of disregard the other snow bear. Or she does, once she sees, like the other thing that was taking the place is just gone.
Well, no, they
come back to it, but like, it's not like, I got to tend to this or pay,
Oh yeah. She pushes it aside and she's like,
yes.
Oh, hey.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to actually like make a move here.
So they have a cute moment. They have the nose touching and then they play and then they look back. They look back at the snow bear and
another 2 snow bears.
Yes.
Oh, it was very sweet.
We don't get that until the very end during the credits. I thought right away they were just gonna like transition to like, here's baby.
Here's baby. But it's very cute. Like they go back, they look at the one bear, and then they create a second, and they're both holding on to each other. And it's like, that's very sweet. And they go off and right off into the sunset together. And then credits come, babies.
Yes. Yeah. And I love the credits. Like the credits continues the story, not animated, but just some still shots of them having fun, them playing, then First comes love, then comes marriage, but not really in polar bear land. And here comes the baby in the baby carriage.
Right.
So yeah, I love this. I thought this was so great and just simple, cute, pure, innocent, but profound.
Yeah. Very innocent. And the fact that you do have those moments of I do need that in real life connection is, very true. And especially in I've had many conversations about this, how we've, as a culture have created a society where we're so interconnected and yet so separated. And so it's in the same vein, they're able to create, or at least come to the knowledge that that we need each other. We need multiples of ourselves and something that's real.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to mention the snow angels that they made.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's cute.
Yeah, I think this is really a profound message and important today because, like you said, we are ultra hyper connected, but at the same time, like the loneliness that people, if they do these surveys, like the loneliness epidemic is higher than ever, and I think it goes to show that the real life connections that you have with people cannot be replaced and cannot supersede an online connection or like a follow or a subscribe or whatever it is you're using as a pseudo replacement for that. But in this case, there's also the other aspect of like having lost. We don't know the backstory of this bear. Did this bear have someone before or, a family? Like it doesn't matter. But just there's a longing there that is unfulfilled. And it's from the very beginning. And no matter what is the cause of your need for connection, it's important. And seeking it out, I think, is really, really important. But then also making sure that it is in the right outlet. And I don't think in this one it was ever perceived that the snow bear was bad.
No.
It was just something needed in the moment desperately.
And I think that there's a lot of those things that we, in order to compensate for the short term, we will find those things. And I don't think that they're bad. I think that they are, a stepping stone to whatever's coming next.
Yeah, but if you allow it to be your only replacement, and then when an opportunity comes up, like let's say the snow bear was still alive, and then she rolls around and he's like, I'm good. It would have, and so she dejectedly walks away yet again. I'm sure. I mean, if she built her own snow bear, she obviously is having her moments of being rejected as well from other creatures and animals and the Arctic Society, if you will. So. Yeah, like in those moments, like don't allow yourself to just be stuck in this one thing. Like grow, get out of your shell, go meet people, go make those connections, get off your phone, and, get out of the chat rooms and actually meet them in real life. And it's so much more fulfilling. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, go out and make history. With people.
It is hard to make friends, though, especially as you get older, I will say.
Yeah. No, it is.
And I think with him, it's like, he never thought he'd be married again. And here it happened, and then he's able to write and direct this, showing that experience, which I think is really, really cool and interesting. And it's resonated with a lot of people. Yeah, just from watching it. I mean, even if you didn't get anything out of this film for one reason or another, like at least the animation is so stunning.
Yes.
Just the movement, the articulation, just the facial expressions, the emotion, he is just a master at his work, and it is perfection. Every scene, and just that alone is enough for watching this. But on top of that, I mean, it's a great story, great character, great film. So
yeah. Well, and as you're telling me the story, it's like I hadn't thought about it as far as we didn't know what happened, like what led the polar bear to be alone in the beginning. And I think that's wise, because we can, put our own selves in that and then be looking for that next phase. I hadn't thought about how he had done that and how it mirrored so well his own life of finding love after his first wife passed. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Very touching.
So keep searching that connection. Keep reaching for that brass ring. Alrighty. Any other things you want to talk about for Snow Bear?
No, I think that was I'm so glad that he's doing so well. And I'm so glad that he was able to put this in into fruition and share it because it's beautiful and it's very worthwhile.
What would you rate it?
For a short, 5 stars for the short.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give it 5 stars as well. I was very, like, any of these shorts that just leave me very moved.
Yeah.
Emotionally. And I'm thinking about kind of the themes and things that afterwards. And also just very impressed with the animation, the music, everything about this was just so well done, spot on. Apparently he's now in the process of working on a feature. I don't know whether it has started or they're pitching it or something, but it's kind of like this was the launching pad. And now he's ready to do that, which is pretty cool. So
nice.
Best of luck to Aaron. Be sure to stay tuned because we will be having an interview with him on a future episode. So be sure to subscribe and let us know your thoughts. Now, this probably won't be available for everyone to watch until much later. So maybe at the new year when we do our mailbag, we'll do another, we'll probably do one before then, but a future mailbag. If once you see this, let us know your thoughts on Snow Bear and what you would rate it. So with that, until next time, we are the Rotoscopers. You've been listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to help spread the word, be sure to share the podcast with your friends on social media. Just don't forget to tag us at Rotoscopers on Instagram and use the hashtag Animation Addicts. For all the links and full show notes for this episode, go to rotoscopers.com/podcast. Now, if you still can't get enough for your animation fix, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and visit rotoscopers.com for more animation news, reviews, and interviews. Thanks for listening.
We have a possible hurricane.
Oh.
Hurricane a coming. Stand fast. Secure the rigging.
Snow Bear. Snow Bear is a new 2D traditionally animated short. How many times do I need? Was that necessary? Traditionally animated short. It's a traditionally animated short. And I felt many times